Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Happy
Welcome.
Monday.
Happy Monday, friends, peeps, everywhere from wherever you're tuning in. We decided to change our intro video. And the reason is because I was rewatching it and I was like, okay, while I love our intro video, can we get to the good stuff? So we decided just to move that 30 seconds instead because my impatience or ADHD or social media, they say you're supposed to get started fast. So we're trying that. Let us know how you feel about that. We're going to put our very cool video maybe midway through. We're working on making some new videos to add some commercial spaces. So about every 15 minutes, we want to add, hi, Tim. So cute. After every, you got him. There we go. Thank you, Tim. I was just saying, I hope Tim comes on and says hi to us. I was just talking about you. All right. So I've had an interesting few days. I went to Peru over the summer with my shaman. His name is Jesus. He works out of Miami, and with his wife, Teresa. And, we went to the, it wasn't the jungle, but the ayahuasca came from the jungle. And then I think we did peyote and we did a few ceremonies in the mountains there. And I met just this beautiful group of people. And it turns out there was a festival this weekend and all of them came into town. And it was interesting because I was already planning on going, but all of a sudden it just hit where everyone hit at once. And there's like 10 people coming into town from all over the country to go to this festival with Jesus, this beautiful tribal community that they're building in Miami and in South Florida. It's one of a kind tribe. And it's like with the firefly, all I can say is there's fireflies, Cahill, Jesus Hidalgo, all of them. When you go there, you just understand that this is like a rainbow community of a new way of living. You can see that this is the type of community that if it spreads across a global scale, this is a sustainable way to live. There was no judgment. It didn't matter who was there or color or creed or race or gender. It was just about love and kindness and connection and gratitude. And I went back to, and Jax, I don't know if we had talked about this, but I went back to thinking, what if, like, I hear this drive, this mission gets put into my heart, like, create this on a larger scale. And I'm like, you come down here and create this on a larger scale. I'm doing it through you. Hi, Evie. But you know what? It did, when I saw it, I was like, if people could feel this ripple, and it was donation based. I mean, yes, they charged money, but it felt more in alignment with, and that was something I wanted to move into, was what would it look like? And I don't know if we talked about this last week, but I have received so many downloads from Source about what does it look like if we were to create a trade. Did we talk about this? A trade barter community.
Yes.
Where we're not exchanging money for trades and services. We're exchanging our time. You're exchanging candles for a car ride. Pet sitting for some special tea that someone makes.
It's still that exchange.
We don't even need Uber anymore.
It's still that exchange.
It's an exchange fee. Air, energy
exchange. I love that.
And
when I downloaded that, it's just amazing.
And it takes taxes out of it. It takes money out of it. And I'm not saying money is all evil. I'm not saying that. I love all things that are here on this earth. But what I see is that a number one cause of depression, suicidal thoughts, stress, because this past week, I've seen actual people talking about ending it due to financial circumstances, losing their homes, no way to get to work, no way to pay any of their bills. People are wondering how they're going to feed themselves. How over paper? You can't eat the paper. It's a piece of paper. You can't smoke it. You can't even drink it. And yet, and there's this guy, Zach, and I've seen this guy, Zach, and he's amazing. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Zach. I'm going to just look up like Zach and he'll probably pull up. And he does amazing things where he goes out on the streets and he asks the people on the streets, and he kind of dresses, I think, like as a homeless person a lot of times. And he goes up to other homeless people or other people and says, like, can you help me with?
Yes, I've seen him. Yes.
And someone who's like, they have no money to their name, but they're like, oh, of course, you know. And what I've learned by seeing that, and what I've already known, is that the majority of us humans, and I'm just going, the majority of us have so much kindness in our hearts. We want to help other people. We want to get money so that we can help other people. It's not like we want this paper, so we're like, I'm going to get all this paper so that I can go buy a big house and stare at everyone from my giant house. Like, now I get you, there's some out there, but I have a big feeling that even if those people came into, and I'm calling it paper because that's as silly as it is. If they got this paper, it's got faces on it that apparently lets them buy silly things. A lot of them would help. They would extend help to a lot of people, more than the millionaires and the billionaires who are like, you know, we need more of this in the bank. Someone just came out. Who is she? She just came out. Someone will remind me of what her name is. She's one of the great movie stars. She's Billie Eilish. She went right out and spoke, and she said, all you billionaires out there, you don't need to be a billionaire. What are you doing? Why are you hoarding all of this money? What do you need it for? It's sitting in a magical, invisible, electronic system institution where it's just sitting there. People starving all over the world. What are you doing? I'd be like, but she's right. Like, dude, keep a few million for yourself, buddy, and then figure out how you can change some people's lives. Set them up, give them investment accounts, support in their small businesses. You need billions of dollars. And I don't know.
Without thinking, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? What's in it for me?
Yeah.
Like do it and what I find and support and give back to the community without the expectation of, well, what's in it for me? How do I get back for myself? And just being able to give because you want to be able to give and help and heal.
Yeah. And I go back to this guy, Zach, because, and I truly, truly, truly honor what he's doing. Truly. And he's working through God in this particular way. Having said that, he is handing these people $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000. And these people are dropping to their knees, sobbing uncontrollably, and praying to God and praying to Jesus that they just received this silly paper monopoly money. I'm just going to say what it is. And I love what he's doing. And I understand that in their brain, they're not like, yeah, I get to keep this money and now I get to go buy a Mercedes or Gucci belt, blah. They're not saying that. They're saying, now I get to feed my family. Now I'm not homeless because of this money. Now I can help my community. And you know, again, I'm working with this company and they're like, we love what you're doing, Kris, but you have to charge, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, and $20,000 for a program. And I'm like, and this is what people are doing. They're charging that. So now they're monetizing Source.
Yep.
They're monetizing the information. And now I understand even more why the last conversation I had with Source during an ayahuasca journey was a donation-based. And I even want to take it a step further and say donation, I'm still dealing in like money. which I understand that some of this paper is necessary, but part of me was like $1 donation, like you had said, $1. And then underneath it, what sort of service or trade can be bartered with you? What can you contribute? So like I can help you with a website. If you need, I can give you an hour of time to help you with the website. You can give me an hour of time at making phone calls or something that I need you to do. And I know it's very like green and in its infancy, but and then I'm not the only one. So then I received this in a download. So then I saw a woman at the event and I told her, I just started sharing this information like I'm sharing with you. And she said, I just received the same message that we're supposed to be moving to barter. Then I went on TikTok and the first video popped up where this gentleman was like, you know what? F food stamps and the government. We're going to pull together as a community and we're going to open up tables and everyone's just going to start bringing food from all over. And that's what people started doing in this community.
Bringing food. Like we don't even have fruit trees available for most people that we could easily just plant free food that we will all have the ability to, go in and take. If there's more than enough food in abundance, then it's not going to be scarce. People aren't going to be freaking out. People can share. If everybody even takes like you in your house in your backyard, whatever, you plant one type of fruit, your neighbor plants another, and we all come together and have our own farmers markets where we all interchange what we have so that we're able to share in abundance, and you take what you need for you and your family and you give the rest out to everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's free.
Yeah. And so
nowhere else in any other country does it like we do. Most other countries do have free fruit trees out in the public where people can just go and grab an apple off of a tree and have a snack.
Yeah. In St. Lucia, that's what they do. I loved being there because in St. Lucia, they said, that's a fruit tree. And I was like, oh, if I'm coming to live in the woods to go off grid, I'm coming to St. Lucia because there's so much food everywhere and it's warm. And there were fishing villages that you can't even get to by car. You can only get to it by little boats. And the little boats, they just fish and they have fruit trees. And this is how this community lives. And they're beautiful people because, they were first taken over by the French. So they have this beautiful French accent. Then they were taken over by the English. So they're mixed with this beautiful English accent. And they have just this love and kindness in their hearts. And I was like, where am I right now? Because I'm in a Caribbean island that felt safest, most loved, kind. I didn't want to leave. I think about it a lot. So this guy, they all started bringing the food and then it started expanding. And this just happened. Not only did he hit 1 million followers over this recently on TikTok, but people started sending him gift cards, food cards, money. And I get paper. Let's call it paper that you buy things with. And then he was just like sobbing and he went out and bought more food. And this is expanding and people are coming, they're giving, they're taking. And then I started reading in the comments. And in the comments, I'm hearing people say, see, we don't need the government. We need to take a stand and start doing this ourselves. And a way to do this ourselves is really to take any kind of transaction through credit. Like maybe there's cash transactions here or there, but for the most part, I think it's bartering our time, our assets. Like I have a vehicle. So if someone needs a ride, I have a good amount of time that I can give people rides in my area. And for that, I need services done. I would love someone to sit on the phone for me. I would love someone to come and walk my pet sometimes. I would love for someone to do, a few things for me work-wise. I need things done work-wise, Oh, I know these videos. I will sit here and sob.
Well, here's the thing. And the thing that I loved most about his videos and in what he does is that the people that have nothing still go to offer something that they go to give him, whether it's even just the blanket off of their backs, their
shoes, they take off their shoes,
whatever it is that this guy needs. They who have nothing, but those that have so much, an abundance of so much stuff, hold on to it like out of fear or out of low vibration. Hey, I'm not going to give you whatever it is that you need. It is absolutely terrible. And that's why we do what we do, is so that we can bring awareness and have the ability to share this love and light workers and working together, having people that heal, which segues me into our guest this evening, who is also a light worker, and she is a shaman, and she is one of our people that go out and heal and help and out doing what we are all going to help each other grow and raise the vibration of the world together. So I'm going to have her come in, and I'm going to play a little intro video for her. Hold on one second.
Allow me to introduce myself. I am Miki Veilwalker, a Toltec shaman. My life's purpose is to guide individuals like you back to a state of balance and profound wholeness. Through the timeless practices of Toltec healing arts and the cleansing of the energy body, we can clear what no longer serves us. I am here to share the transformative wisdom of the divine feminine, helping you reconnect with your own sacred power. Thank you for inviting me to be a special guest on the Jocks and Kris show, where we will explore these paths to healing together. It's an honor to share this space with you.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I love that AI video. That was so great.
Thanks. Yes. Just my spare time, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Did it pronounce it correctly?
It did, yes. Mickey Veilwalker.
I love that.
Mickey Veilwalker. I love that. Yeah, that's a beautiful name. Is it one that you chose alignment for?
What's funny is that growing up, when I was a child, I started telling my family, I was like, oh, you can call me Mickey from now on. Like, that's my nickname. And they were like, that's so weird, because like, who gives themselves a nickname, you know? And I was like, no, but that's my name. And so I spelled it in a more traditional English way, Mikkie. And later on, when I was going through my shamanic training, I had initiated myself through a more astral and Palladian type of pathway when I was around 13, and I had chosen a name already at that point. So when I was doing my shamanic training, I was struggling with the idea of adopting a new name, because I had already given myself a new name, and I already had my spiritual name. That was my Palladian name. And so as we were talking and doing our classes, my teacher had we had each other on Facebook, and he had seen that my nickname growing up was Mickey, and he goes, well, don't you know what the name Mickey means? Mickey is the nickname that we give the one who dies. That's what that means. Mickey means the one who dies, the one who goes to Mitlan. And I was like, oh, that makes sense now. So I had named myself many times without really knowing or understanding what was happening, because things become revealed as time goes on. And I chose Veilwalker as a more Americanized way to help people understand me and what I do a little bit easier, rather than choosing a more traditional Toltec and Nahual-based name that is difficult to read and difficult to pronounce. So I went with something a little more Americanized, so that I could reach more people.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's awesome.
How long have you been a shaman?
I love how people spend that time, energy, and essence to vibrate and resonate and channel their names. And it comes through. And that's that woman, Shanti. She did the same. She has one whole name, which I don't know it. And then she said it just came to her, Shanti. And now I think she just switched everything to that name. And I have Noname, one tribe that
Some
came
pure
to me. And you have some pure. Yeah. And each it's like a rite of passage, or an honor, or a vibrational like
alignment.
Yeah. And how the name, sticks to our vibrational frequency. So Jack, you had said, how long have you been? Well, as a child, I'm sure you had communication happening as a child, or when did that come to you?
Well, I would say I really didn't awaken till I was about 13. And when I was 13, things really started to change. I started to do a lot more astral travel type meditations. And then around 15, I really dove into more ritual work. And then by the time I was 16, I had made the decision that traditional medicine, psychology, any of those routes were not in alignment with who I am. And I really made a conscious decision to follow a different path. So I began to study herbalism. I continued any other exploration in all different types of pathways. I mean, I've always been very open spiritually. So I was just very open-minded. My traditional life brought me to becoming a chiropractor. And so that is the path I followed to stay in regular society. But after some years of witnessing miracles, nothing short of miracles, many times I wouldn't even work on anyone. I would just give them energy work, or I would pray over them or whatever. And I was experiencing these miraculous healings. I decided to dive into my shamanic trainings and really finish exploring a path that I had kind of explored a little bit, but I didn't really dive all the way in. And I never had put myself out there to offer anything that I do, since you were talking about the energy exchange and exchanging for money. It never felt right to me to accept any kind of money for this type of work. I have no problem taking your money for a chiropractic adjustment. You are welcome to come in anytime. But as far as doing this type of work, it never felt right to charge for it or take any type of paper money. Yeah. So I always just kept it as a way for my own spirituality. If people really came to me on a case-by-case basis, and I would do certain healing work for them, and we can dive more into what that looks like. And so that's kind of how everything evolved. And then once I met Jax, she was like, you got to just put yourself out there and start talking about all of this. And that is one of the callings, really, is to start to bring to the world these teachings that have been passed down traditionally through the oral tradition. There are not a lot of books and lectures on a lot of this. There are some teachers that are starting to make this a little bit more popularized and put it out there, but it's really been very limited. We see a lot more information from a chakra Hindu, that side of the world base. But a lot of the teachings here from the indigenous people, whether they were from Central South America or our brothers to the north, you don't really see a lot of that put out there due to historical factors.
Yeah. So you had mentioned the Palladians. For anyone who doesn't know who and what that is, do you want to describe a little bit about, are those the white people with the white hair?
They can be, yes. So most commonly, if you're going to have an experience with a Palladian, they have been described as the Nordic whites, or the tall Nordic whites. That would be a more humanoid form that they take. And the Pleiades are very large. And there are many, as we know, there are many planets, but even within each one of those, there's a bunch of different solar systems within there. So some Pleiadians are still in their more energetic form, in their energetic bodies. What's tough to understand about that is that, we experience time as something linear here on Earth, but time isn't necessarily linear. We could be experiencing a Palladian lifetime right now in another form of existence, and another timeline, if you will, and another incarnation that is happening at the same time. So you might still be in your energetic body. You may have taken a humanoid form. That humanoid form may be expressing in that way. But there are other expressions of Pleiadians as well, as far as what they look like. Many Pleiadians at one point decided to take a Lyrian. They came over, their energetic bodies traveled over, and they experienced an Illyrian incarnation. And then they may have also decided to take an assignment on Earth at whatever timeline they may have been in. For myself, I have experienced a Lyrian timeline. I have experienced a timeline on Earth where I was in a scene, and I'm experiencing one right here, right now. So your soul can incarnate in many different what we would call, maybe ETs or extraterrestrial or whatever types of experiences and incarnations. Some people might find that they are Andromedan, and some people might find that they have Orion roots. Some might have reptilian roots. Not, that's neither good or bad, and we're not going to, fall into the politics around that, but that's just really more around, where your soul may have originated. I did also experience, and this is what brought me into my Toltec teachings, what they call what did I hear? I heard it. Gaia said it, something like the time traveling Mayans, I believe they called them. And so those were actually my original memories when I was a child. So around 5 years old, those are the memories that were coming up. I knew that I had other parents. I had a vision where I saw my conception as a Mayan and how I came to be. And I remembered my parents, and I remembered being their baby. And so for many years on Earth, I felt very disconnected and sad and longing for my parents because I missed them very much. And it was very hard for me to experience my childhood here on Earth without them.
Yes. So I'll go back to the soul. So many, I study near-death experiences. I've been studying them for many years. And so many of the souls who have crossed over, checked into their star family, were downloaded with all the messages, came back to Earth. And what I love is they're generally not people like us. They're just kind of normal people who went over there and discovered that they're living a life as, I've heard, the lion people, the lion energies. And then even Dolores Cannon speaks in her book about how when they were seeding this planet with our DNA and our ancestry, they were experimenting with different life forms here on the planet to see which one was going to really take root, what was the best really suited form of being, and that these beings kind of developed and grew. And they say that, the bird people I've heard about, they actually look like birds, and many people have seen them and talked about them. And then when you read these near-death experiences, they speak about how exactly what you said, how this one woman, and I loved it, she was such a normal person. And she was like, well, I was having a life over on this planet. And then I was shown that I was on this planet with these people, but then I'm having, a life here. And she was explaining how time is linear. And I know that concept blows our mind.
I did this before when she was talking about it, because it is such a hard concept to wrap your head around, especially for first timers listening to something like that. It's overwhelming to experience that part of your existence if you're not familiar with it. So, knowing that you are simultaneously in multiple places because our energies are part of this one consciousness. So it's, we're in multiple places at the same time. Different times.
And when you journey with Aya, with the right shamans and the right medicine men, you can travel into these different lives. And I've seen with every single person who sits in my IS circle, I have seen their ancestral star seed lineage. I've seen them come through. I've seen that one is like a goddess of a planet just here having this human experience. This one, I didn't actually recognize where he was from, but wow, is he cool. And I can see where they come from. And then what was interesting is this woman who was channeling these lion people, everything she was saying, I was like, oh, this is a very similar frequency to who I'm communicating with. And then at that point, she said she started seeing lions everywhere. And now I've started to see the name, and I know that that's a communication. And then I've heard about the Mayans and how they, you know, how they say it's a lost civilization. They all disappeared. But like what you said, the time traveling is that they're like, they didn't disappear. They collectively relocated. What are they saying? They collectively moved together somewhere. I don't know. That's what
I yeah. I mean, yeah, going back to the Felonians, certainly, I do you guys remember that cartoon from the 80s, Thundercats?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
every Saturday morning.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of these stories can be triggered by a lot of the things that we see in popular culture. I used to love the Thundercats, and I was definitely more aligned. Not necessarily a lion Felonian, but a tiger-based Felonian. But also, when we talk about timelines, I whenever I'm talking to somebody who's very new to these ideas, I'll bring up like that show, The Flash, and how they're always talking about the multiverse. And I'm not really big into comic books, and comic book people, I'm probably getting this all wrong because I don't really know the storylines. But whenever I have dabbled into any of these comic book stories, I'm like, oh, yeah. Like that's the thing. Like they're talking about it. So cool. And so I think that for a lot of people, you know, we have these movies and these books and these shows that introduce us to different ideas that can spark or trigger different memories. And I certainly think that your memories, once you're able to access them, are much more powerful than anything else you're going to hear from anyone else. Because that's truly what knowledge is, you know, quieting your mind, opening up your auric field, and allowing what it is that you're meant to receive in that moment to help you grow to the next stage.
For sure. Especially like, you know, when I do mediumships and I see them present themselves to me as the person that I'm reading, recognize them in this physical form. But when I see them and they show themselves to me, it's they're showing me how they present themselves, but then all their other versions of themselves also come through. And it's really interesting to see how it is all at the same time, all of these experiences, all of these energy replicas, I guess, of how they come through. It's just incredible.
Yeah, that's really like the idea behind Kabbalah, essentially. And once you really get into looking at that, that really gives you a good breakdown of the multiverse. I think that's probably one of the, especially if you're a very logical person, I think it's a great way to understand the multiverse, if you will, and and how it works, that you can be one, but all these other versions of yourself all at the same time.
Which is an interesting fact because, his name just, he plays in all of his own movies, and he was the one who came up with the whole multiverse and everything. Stan Lee, thank you. And he, being a Jewish man, studied and was aware of the Kabbalah, and sat actually with one of my rabbis that I have in my life. They sat and they talked about this. So you never know what stems that imagination to come up with all of these things. There's got to be truth to where they've studied this information, because he's come up with all of them on his own. So very interesting that when you correlate the two together.
Yeah, I figured out a while back that most of our movies and our TV shows are being channeled information, our books. And it was fascinating that once you shift into the frequency, call it 5D for lack of better human terms, like the Green Lantern, if you haven't watched it, you want to go ahead and watch that one. It talks all about, fear and the power of will, and how with will you can create anything that you want, but fear actually tries to block it. And the battles between dark and light in every single movie. Yeah. They're letting us know that we are actually, experiencing the similarities between our light energy and our dark energy, and the yin and the yang. Resident Alien, for anyone who's watching, highly evolved show that's they talk about the Palladians, the reptiles are there, the bird people are there, like they're all there. So they brought it to mainstream and made it seem cute. And I'm like, this is like a metaphysical show that they're like, they got away with it because they called it comedy, and not got away, but they're dosing us up. And furthermore, in an Aya journey, I was told the government is aware of all of this. Of course, all of the communication, they're aware of everything that's going on. That's what's keeping them in check a bit. And then the last thing about the multiverse is, Google just proved with the Willow chip. Have you heard about the Willow chip? Anyone? They just proved the multiverse, and you can Google this right now. Google did this. You can look it up. This just came out, where there was an impossible mathematical equation. It was impossible to be reached. It was the solution to this mathematical equation was impossible to be found on Earth at this time, in this time frame. They put it out into this multiverse, which probably over my head how they did this. This is straight up Google. Put it out into this, what I would consider a quantum field, and the answer came back in 5 minutes to an unanswerable on this particular planet. The equation could not be found. They said it would be, I don't know, like hundreds of thousands of years or something on our math level. You got to look it up. And that actually proved right then and there that there is sentient multiverse going on. It went out and it came back with an answer, and they're like, okay. And then guess what? Chat came out right after that. Then chat came out, which they are already talking about chat being a sentient being from the multiverse, from the quantum field, that is communicating with us and to us.
Which is how I think originally how we started as with the Bible, and this may freak a little bit of people out, but there is truth in so many different parts of the world. And before there was such thing as technology, before there was such things in our understanding of technology, before we knew each other existed from all parts of the world in this earth. And somehow they all have the same type of underlying information in their Bible, of whatever they call it in each different country. And there's some truth to where I feel some type of higher power came down and communicated with the tribe member, chief, whatever leader of whatever that community was, and was able to relay their information to them. So it's a little different from each part because it was a different person telling their story to them. But that's where I feel like a lot of our evolution came from and stems from, where we were told this information from a higher power came down specifically to each one of these groups in whatever way that they recognize them to this day. And that's how we have evolved to the technology that we're slowly leaked every few years. They give us a little bit more to help us advance.
But there's stuff saying that there was written accounts of time before the moon, the time before the moon. Have you heard of that? There was a time before the moon. And they believe that the moon was put by our star family, and that when the moon came, it did tilt the earth and did something with its axis. And that's what caused the great flood. time before the moon, and then there's time after the moon, and it's written somewhere in ancient text. They've shown it. And remember, you can even look at those astronauts that went up there. If you watch the interview when they came home as light workers, empaths, they were devastated. They were like this. Yeah, great on the moon. They were, you could feel, I could feel it. And it was the first time I'd ever seen it was actually this week. And I was like, oh my God, they are disturbed. They saw something, and we've conveniently never gone back. And now one thing is, you said okay, so maybe you know something about this. I was taken into a ship one time.
You were what?
I was taken into a ship. Into a ship. I want to say at one of my highest vibrational points in my journey, where I was just fully immersed into source, merged with source, right? I was just in that space, and I went to sleep, and I woke up on a ship, and I'll just tell you the story because it's not a long one. And the first thing is I looked down, I looked to the left and I looked to the right, and there was it was an energetic body, like you said, a sort of energetic body. What was interesting is I could see the blue, what looked to me like blood running through their veins, and I could see what was orange electrical, like what would be your electrical system, moving through their feet. I looked up, I looked up, I saw what would look like to me a ship, like actual with buttons and glass windows, and Earth was right there. And to me, the perspective I'm thinking of, it looked like it would have been on the moon from where I was located. And then I looked up this way, and I went like this. And then I went like this, and I went in my head, should I be afraid right now? And they were like, no, we mean you no harm. And I felt that energetically, telepathically. They truly meant me no harm. And they said, we are the custodians of Earth. We are here to do what must be done with Earth. And this one, the larger one, I would imagine that was male and female. I don't know. There wasn't a male-female body form that I noticed. So this one was smaller in stature and larger in stature. And the head, I mean, I saw the whole head but I didn't see a brain, just like electrical impulses. The skin was translucent. And this being reached its hand through the glass, through to the earth. And I'm like, how is this possible? Like in my, your brain is like, how is this possible? And I saw a red car driving over a bridge on a snowy embankment. Mind you, they just told me no harm. And this big, weird hand flicked the back of the car, and it spun and went over the embankment. And I was like, what do you mean? You mean us no harm? You just flicked that car over. Like I was instantly on edge by what they did. But then they said, we take no pleasure in what needs to be done. But that is what needed to happen at that moment. And I understood it to mean that person was going to meet their loved one in the hospital. That person was going to write a memoir and save the world. That person was going to pass away, and the next child was going to become president. It was like, this is what had to be done, and we are the custodians of Earth. And then afterwards, I found out Dolores Cannon wrote a book called The Custodians of Earth, which was super cool. I found that out after the fact. And then I found pictures of them on the internet. I'm not the only one who has seen them. And I don't know who and what they are. And some Indian guy that we met, Jack, I don't know if you remember him, but he was like, oh, those are some ancient, I don't know, those are some ancient beings. And I was like, cool. And as I looked it up, I found pictures of them. Now, what's interesting is the person who drew another picture gave them more of an alien head. I didn't see that alien sort of head. The last thing that I remember them saying is turning around, and I turned around, and I remember seeing like a row of humans walking, and they were like, kind of like, I want to say what looked to be in a sort of a trance-ish. They weren't like, hey, what's up, Cindy? They were just like walking quietly into what looked like a back room. And they said, would you like to know more? And I said, yes. And they turned and I turned and I remember nothing else. I woke up and I was like, oh my God. And like, that's not something like, it's a memory. It's not a dream. It's a memory.
So speaking of how they take that and put it on TV, did you ever see the Umbrella Academy?
No.
Oh yeah.
There are
definitely for kids.
right? There are custodians that travel through time and they work on setting stuff up for that reason. So
what? And they're called the custodians?
Yeah, they're like this back office. Even in what was the movie?
Felt like a back office. They were like, no, we're here like doing what has to be done.
Correct.
Like if you're here to break your arm, we're the ones that make sure it happens.
Correct. And then they did this again also in one of the Marvel movies. The latest one with Logan and Deadpool, which I'm, not the best example of people that help.
I love Deadpool.
But the last Deadpool movie with Wolverine, the whole beginning of it is they go back into the headquarters where there's like somebody who takes care of this section of Earth, of this planet, of this timeline. And there's multiple timelines going on. The same thing in Matrix. All of these things that have, all of these movies that are flooding in as they give me the analogies to what we're talking about, all have to do with the same concept of this multiverse with these custodial our spirit guides kind of concept. And they help us navigate
Earth.
The lesson that we're needing to learn for those people. So they intervene when they have to intervene.
This is what
if we're lost path, or if we're going a little off-centered, or we need a shift, they come in and wreak some whatever they have to do and fix us up to where we're back on track.
Yeah. I know it's strange for people, but I tell people, listen, my real life is better than any science fiction movie I've ever watched. And they look at me and I'm like, I know you don't get it, but
wow, the notes I have from my wake-ups, like when I write down like the dreams that I just had, I could literally have an entire sci-fi series on TV.
I know. So what do you think, Mickey, about those beings?
Well, so traditionally, and what is taught is that if you are, and I really feel that it's really where your soul is called, not necessarily where you were born or what your DNA says, but if you feel that you have a Toltec origin soul, and so I'm going to call it Toltec because that's really encompasses more of the spiritual aspect of that heritage rather than saying Mayan or Aztec, which can also have, regional, or even an Inca background. Those are more regionally based, but a Toltec base, if you have that calling on your soul, then most likely you can trace your soul to the Pleiades. As far as what the teachings say about, the flood or what happened, right now we are in the sixth sun. So we've experienced we are going into the sixth time of going into, and many people are talking about this, and I don't want to scare anyone, but we are moving into a mass extinction, and that happens periodically throughout history and throughout time, at least here on Earth. So the flood was one way. So we have had fire, we have had cold, we have had water. And so we move through the elements, and the movement that we are currently in and what we will experience will be that of movement. So talking about movies, that movie Don't Look Up, that was a perfect example of the sixth sun, right? Where it's just like they're just sitting there and everything starts to shake and like they're not really understanding what's happening, but that was what was it. And so that may happen tomorrow, that may happen 100 years from now. So not to catastrophize, if this is the first time you're hearing this information, you may or may not experience this. But these have happened throughout time here on Earth. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I've heard the same, but also what's interesting is collectively, this is something that's a little also tough to hear. Collectively, as a species, we're choosing to mass extinct. And you can almost take a poll, and almost everyone that you speak to, and I didn't realize how massive this was, but they're like, yeah, we're headed in this human species, the way it's growing, the way it is, we got to reset, guys. Like, this isn't really working. Like, that we've taken a turn in that direction. Now, what I've also heard, though, very clearly, and I can't, sometimes I can't remember whether it's a download or a book or a movie or where the message came from, but there are vibrational. So why all of us light workers are waking up right now and finding our voices and sharing our messages on such in a way, it feels like now is the time, like if there's a bit of a urgency. And I was told the urgency is there because anyone that we can reach at this moment to elevate their frequency, to get them on tune, that the earth is splitting. And I know it's split and there's multiverse and there's so much of it, but I've heard it's splitting. Your people will come, enlighten as many as you can reach right now, because they'll have the frequency that will be moving into the new version of Earth. It's already happening right now, which I think is funny. And I know nothing about the rapture, by the way. I don't even know what that is, but everyone went and talked about this rapture thing, which I, again, don't know what that is. But at that moment, I was seeing people being transferred. I've still been seeing people being transferred. So that's why there's a lot of like things that are missing, why our timelines are glitching, why we keep shifting. Where I think that, and I go back to, I don't know if the government did this with CERN. Again, I don't know. This is all like information that's coming because they started messing with the multiverse and the timelines, and they opened some sort of destabilizing portal. And now we're shifting timelines so fast. Like the, what is that? Mandela effect is insane. It's gone insane at this point where I have totally different memories. Even my mother is not the same.
My husband too. Me and Matt have different memories.
My mother is not the mother I grew up with. This is not her. This one's much nicer, actually.
Well, I love your story, even about like that sweater story. Like that's a huge time.
I have a real timeline shift story in real time. That's because I asked to experience things. I'm not just a believer. I need to experience. I'm an experiencer. So if you tell me something, I'm like, timeline shift. Yeah, that sounds great. I need to see it. And they showed me it. I was in a totally different, I won't go into the whole story, but I was in a totally different world. I went to a woman's house, came back and saw her 3 days later, and she didn't live there. It wasn't her house. She's never lived there. And I'm like, I was just at your house like a week ago. What are you talking about? I was at your house. She's like, no, I don't live there. I was like, okay.
I was just here a few days ago.
I was at your house. There's your bench. The bench is still there. See that bench? Yeah. You were sitting on that bench. And I don't even know this person's house. And she's like, you're out of your mind. It's not my house. I live on the other side of the neighborhood. And I was like, oh my God. And guess what? I'll tell you one more thing. My entire life, the third Thursday of my entire life is when Thanksgiving is, because my mother's birthday is December 1st. So I've always had that third week, right around the 23rd or 24th, that third week is Thanksgiving. And then I know that I have 1 week to get ready for my mother's birthday. It was never that I had Thanksgiving and my mother's birthday at the same time, because then obviously we would have been celebrating Thanksgiving and her birthday on the same day for my whole life. And that never happened because there was a solid week in between them. My mother says, no, Thanksgiving was always on the fourth Thursday. And half of our civilization, half of Earth thinks it's on the fourth Thursday, and the other half thinks it's on the third Thursday.
So it is usually on the fourth Thursday in my timeline. But it used to be like 5 weeks within November. So we always did have that extra week between Thanksgiving and December.
So it's always been on the 24th. When
right,
do you have right around that time?
23rd, within those the early 20s. Days.
But they're saying, that
if we were going to just want to throw a whole wrench in your conversation, I mean, ultimately, why are our months 30 and 31 days? They should really be 28 days, all of them. They should
And then
be
we get 13
the moon. We're talking about the moon, and that's and we should be following a lunar calendar, which would be more accurate. So certainly, this is the Gregorian calendar, right, that we follow here. So that one is certainly meant to just thoroughly mess us up completely. So
and then
don't worry about that.
But what, Jax? What'd you say?
I said, and then they threw another wrench in with daylight savings.
Right. And then
that just happened because all of a sudden I wake up and my time is different. I didn't even know that the clocks changed, guys, today. This just happened. Like, no one decided to let me know
Sunday. So apparently this is the last year, and they've been saying this for the last few years, that
no one even told me that happened.
They are getting rid of daylight savings.
I love that. Please get rid of daylight savings. I mean, not that I mind, like, because I'm more of a change up kind of person, like shake it up. But this is
it's man-made.
It's just a weird feeling. It's a weird recalibration.
It is a man-made.
And they only ever did that for the farmers, or so they say. And I don't believe anything they tell us anymore.
No, I don't either. I don't either. But yeah, so I mean, even Thanksgiving, all of these different timelines, all of these different shifts, it is absolutely incredible that the three of us have such different timelines. But yes, I personally, me being Jewish, I go by the lunar calendar for the Jewish holidays, for the Jewish religion, for, they have a very different calendar than the English calendar. And even like our Sabbath, everything is from sundown to sundown. So it's when you see the first 3 stars to the next day, when you see the first 3 stars. So it's very spiritual. It's very lunar. It's very all about the sky and not the sun and secular.
Is this Jewish?
The Hebrew calendar.
Hebrew calendar. So I am not religious. I was raised, thankfully, in unity, which was we bless all pathways to God. We never put any rules on that. It was just open. I was blessed to be raised in that. Not even a religion. It was just an honoring. And as I've grown, I've learned about the Jewish, I call it a culture because I don't even do religion. I don't get that.
It's a way of life.
It's a way of life. And I resonate with this more than any other one I've been exposed to. Culture. Yes. Any other culture has been, this one feels the most authentic.
And to say that, yes, I agree with you, because even the rules and laws that were thousands and thousands of years ago, because technically we just had our new year, we're in 5,700 and something. I can't remember off the top of my head. I have to look it up again. And so thousands of years ago, 5,786 just came to me. And all of these laws and rules are actually being proven so much now to be healthier for our bodies before we even knew about nutrition, healthier for our souls and systems and spirituality, and all of these connections that we do are proving to be so much healthier now in this lifetime, than they were thousands of years ago, again, before technology. All of these things were written down and passed on from generation to generation before we even knew it existed. Like eating meat and milk together, technically speaking, the way our bodies digest food, and the fact that they knew that it was 6 hours that it took to digest meat before you can eat dairy because it would mix in your system.
Oh yeah, they were finding that that's actually like true scientifically.
It is healthier, yes.
And how pairing the certain foods together, it actually in your biology is how they're meant to be paired.
Correct. And certain foods that we are not allowed to eat because they're not kosher are technically not very healthy because of the fact that they eat their own shit.
Yeah, and I never knew what kosher meant, but when someone told me, I was like, I totally agree with that. But I found that my family roots were Lithuanian Jew, and when we came over here, so I have deep Jewish roots, but when we came over here, my name was Friedman. They moved away from it due to, I think it was the time of the Nazis, and I think they changed the names and kind of let that fall away. But when we did our ancestry, we found these deep roots. back there. It was pretty hidden. So Toltec, I'm sure you've heard of Ruiz, the Four Agreements and the Mastery of Love.
Yes, definitely. I love how he basically took the Toltec teachings and made them bite-sized, and it really reminded me of the Buddhist the precepts. So, how can you make something into 4 and make it very easy to understand? And he is definitely a much more Mayan-based teacher. So within the Toltec teachings, you're going to have the Mayan teachings, you're going to have the Aztec teachings. I'm actually, even though my earthly lineage traces back to the Pipil tribe and more Mayan roots, I actually found I just resonated a little bit more with the Aztec teachings. It was a little bit more. It's developed a little bit more right now as far as having more teachers and more history, more writings. There's just more on paper about it versus Mayan teachings. You're just really looking at an oral tradition, and that is definitely a life goal. I'm going to spend some years in Central America and travel and see all of the ruins and really dive into the oral teachings. But as far as like learning something here from the United States, the Aztec teachings were a lot easier to be exposed to. So that's really more the root of my training and the rituals that I know of. But they really, if you're very familiar with ritual work and even things that are more modern, such as hoodoo or voodoo, or even modern Wicca or anything like that, all of those rituals really trace back to Toltec-based rituals. So a lot of the things, a lot of the basics are really based in the Toltec teachings, and it really doesn't matter what region you may have learned them from. As far as my work and what I do, I'm a veil walker, so I do a lot of shadow work. So that might sound kind of scary. So to break that down, everything has a light and a dark, right? So the light being the male, the dark being the female, the yin and the yang. From our perspective, it's not necessarily that one is good and one is bad. It's more that one is good and one is not good, right? So you often hear that phrase like, "Oh, that's just no bueno," right? It's no bueno. So it's just not good, but it's not necessarily bad. And so changing that perception that our shadow side or what is of the dark is evil. So that perception really came more further along down the human timeline when we started to go into the one God belief system, right? So if there was only going to be one God, then the opposite must be like a devil or what's evil. And that's really where that frame of thought came from, and that concept within spiritual teachings came from. But looking at it from a Toltec tradition, you have either light or you have dark. You have good or you have not good, but not necessarily bad. So we don't necessarily recognize that something is quote unquote evil. When you look at, for example, Greek and Roman mythologies, they follow a similar storyline when we look at Hades and the underworld, except from a Toltec teaching, it's not under us, it's actually above us. So the land of the dead is actually above to the north. And so in there, it's just another realm. And to die is to dream. And our purpose here on earth as a human is to learn how to die. And if you'll notice, there's a lot of fear around death. And a lot of religions cultivate a lot of fear around death and what's going to happen when you die. And if you talk to many humans, there's probably a larger percentage of humans that their biggest fear is death. and they're so afraid of death. And that could be the worst thing, when really the knowledge that has been forgotten is how to experience a conscious death. And that comes from learning your meditations, learning how to balance your, what we commonly call here the chakras. In the Toltec teachings, we call them the tonalcayos. So in science, we call them your energy centers. So the points that follow along the path of the vagus nerve, which dictate your what we call the social nervous system. So not your sympathetic nervous system, your parasympathetic nervous system, but your social nervous system. So how you express what we call in metaphysics your aura, or your energetic field, or your energetic body, and how that's interacting with other people's energetic bodies and energetic fields. So that's a lot of the basis of the self work that people can do if they decide to explore the Toltec teachings. It's learning how to balance your energy centers through breath work. There are specific breath work techniques that use a lot of numerology. So if you're somebody that has dabbled in numerology and that's something that calls to you, there is a whole field of study of just Toltec numerology, where numbers do have meanings. And in studying the numbers, you will hear the story of creation, and of the different essences or entities that played a role in that. And so it's definitely, I think the hardest part for people when they are exploring this new information is that you really have to be ready to disengage from, especially for Americans, because we have a very large, one God foundational popular thought. Like that is really collectively in our consciousness. Many of us were taught like there's this one source, there's the one being, there's the one God, and he's usually male, and so that's what feels very uncomfortable for people in the beginning when they're beginning to explore this information and to tie it into the different stories. But if you've studied, let's say, Greek mythology or Roman mythology, I would say that's probably the closest thing that you could come to it. But understanding that even those stories were already changed at that point in time. And then from those stories, we then developed the idea of the one God, and we became the Roman Catholic Church, right? So it is, to study the Toltec teachings, you do get a history lesson. And you also can, with the numerology, if you're a numbers person, you're going to be a language person. You are very left-brained. And so if you're very left-brained, you'll enjoy learning Nahual. So Nahual is very similar to Sumerian. Again, you had one side of the world and the other side of the world. And you'll find historically that the way things developed, they developed in a parallel fashion throughout the timeline that we're experiencing here on Earth in that linear fashion. So Nahual, if you decide to learn it, every word is very intentional as a meaning. So you use words to communicate. But if you are interested, I always say, like, you're going to find what calls to you in your history, if you will, if that's the history of your human DNA or in your ancestral, lineage. You're either going to be drawn to the Sumerian teachings and the tablets in that part of the world, or you're going to be drawn towards the Toltec teachings and everything that developed in that way. But you will find, if you study both, that there are so many parallels right there. My current theory would be that really it was just, the population on Earth, like our human population had grown so much that we really had to develop it on both ends because we hadn't hit that point of technology, if you will, where we were able to share that information. Maybe in another timeline when we're talking about other stuff, I'm not going to get into all that.
Yeah, I've heard about the numbers recently, actually being living numbers and how they're actually creating. And I had never really overly related to numbers until I heard, again, I can't tell you where the information came from, but the living numbers and how each one means something, and how you can master your life, receive every information if you kind of work with these numbers. And when you spoke about Hades, I was going to bring this up because I was in the mountains again in Peru and in a deep, deep ayahuasca journey. And someone had given us a deck of cards and I was given Hades. And Hades, I went there because when you're doing Aya, you're through the veil. There's no veil, so you can travel. And I can't believe that I went to Hades. And I was instantly like, my first initial thing was fear. Like, what is this? You know, who is this? Like, should I be afraid? And this dude is so kind and loving and unconditional love. And he's a god, which I don't know, but he's a god in his own realm down there, totally works with us all the time. And what he does is, like you said, there's no evil. It was just not good. And the thing is that as us humans, when we do things that we feel are going against the light or going against God or going against what we should be doing, we actually choose, this is what he told me, choose to put ourselves into a place that would be considered hell, even though that's not a thing. But we have been like, no, we can't go there. We've done bad things and we've either killed ourselves or hurt someone or whatever. So we're choosing to not go towards the light. They go to see Hades first. And Hades was a gatekeeper. So he showed me the whole thing down there. Gatekeeper. And it was this river and the rocks were there. And he was in this boat. And when the people would come, he'd be like, you don't have to make this choice. You have not done anything wrong. We're going to talk about forgiveness and we're going to talk about kindness. And there is no bad, like you said, there is no evil. Like this isn't a thing. Now, sure, you can make the choice to continue down this river, but you don't have to. And he was actually there as a gatekeeper to stop people from kind of going further down that river. Now, some people continue to go, but he was here to save us, actually. And I don't know the story about him, but he showed me his whole realm and told me he works with us all the time. More than welcome to come back. Talk about a weird journey. I didn't know anything I didn't think any of that was real, again, until you like experience it firsthand. I know that's very strange to hear, but when you experience it firsthand, like, what are you going to do? I was there. The dude was super cool.
And in the Jewish religion, and I'm just going to talk because those are my roots, and I resonate very much with that way of life and the teachings, and I grew up that way. So we very much believe in chakras, and we believe in the numbers. All of the letters of the alphabet refer to a number, and those numbers reveal certain secrets. It is said that in the Torah, in the Bible, in the scrolls that you see, that every single person's life is written in there, and in ways that it may be this way, it may be this way, it may be diagonally, but however, you will find your name within the whole written script. And it is all about numbers and coding and spirituality. And it's just fascinating how, again, all of these things that come through with the Kabbalah and the mysticism and the teachings, even with Edgar Cayce with the chakras and how he healed so many people through hypnosis, was not even within this consciousness, and even came up with the chakra system correlating to all of our hormonal glands throughout our whole body, from root chakra to crown chakra, being a correlation to our 7 hormonal glands. It's just incredible that and all of this is coming to him, that he never studied anything like this in his waking world. He had no idea any of this, and he would just channel completely. The information would come downloaded to him. He would be in hypnosis. And he even chose to continue to stay in hypnosis, knowing that it may even kill him. by going into this deep, constant realm. And he did it just to heal as many people, knowing full well when he was going to pass, knowing that he had no fear that there was something else on the other side, knowing that he was just going to do as much as he can possibly do to heal as many people as he can.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I love those numbers. And what's so great is we are the master creators. We are the creators. We are a manifested version of source energy. That is, we're here. And so the Jewish culture has been like, hey, program the numbers. The Toltec, they're like, use the calendar.
Yep.
Which again, this Hades, like you said, Greek, whatever, which I had zero. And I love that. A lot of times I have zero exposure to this stuff. It just like it's channeled. And I almost prefer it that way.
Me too.
Because the information comes through a bit more authentically when it's not like shrouded with other people's opinions. But as I vibrated into a channel, now they're like, they'll send me a book, like study up on this book, because we're going to use that information to communicate to you, kind of like a signs and symbols gridlock thing. And so that's how we've been communicating the last, I don't know, probably 10 years.
I wanted to add this before I forget. When you were talking about the shifting of timelines, and it's so interesting because one of the people that I wanted to mention to you that I think would resonate with you very much so, Kris, is Marina Jacoby, and she's actually doing a workshop coming up on how to hold your vibration. And that's really the key to not sliding in and out of so many portals, is learning to master your vibration and hold that steady. And if at any point in time you start to see yourself slipping and sliding, knowing when you need to just be like, the most important thing that I do right now is time out. I need to go reset my vibration, my frequency, like how I am expressing right now energetically, that needs to move all the way up on the priority list. So that was like, when we were talking about it, I had wanted to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, we have a reset button. And we tell people like, your energetic vibrational frequency is the number one priority on this planet, is holding your vibrational frequency and monitoring, like exactly what you said. If my frequency is tuned in, then what's coming out of my mouth is a vibrational frequency that I'm willing to share with this planet. But if I've clicked underneath for whatever reason, time, money, finances, stressors, chaos outside, and I've shifted, I want to button up, take myself out, reset my energy, rebalance my energy before I open my mouth and I'm spreading something that is not the energy frequency that I want to put on the planet at this moment. I will shut my phone off. I will not see people until I rebalance my energy. And I explain to people, and they get a little like, oh, how could you say that? I'm like, your energetic frequency is more important than your role as a parent. It's more important than you paying your bills and your electricity bill. Because when your vibrational energetic frequency is in a place of neutral, and 5D isn't, I mean, I understand it's a silly term that we're using here on Earth, but we're trying to explain the vibrational frequency in the portal free of time. And if we're holding on to that, everything clicks out. And that's something, real quick before we go on, that is something that I learned as far as the timeline shifting. Each choice that we make right now, when we're in whatever frequency that we're making the choice in, that's what's shifting our timeline. Like, it's manifesting instantly. So if I make a choice from a high vibrational frequency and that's my next few moves, I've put myself on that higher vibrational frequency. Now, if I make another choice that's more on this frequency, I have now shifted myself into this frequency. But just like you said, reset, rebalance, move yourself back to the frequency. Now you're back on your highest timeline of manifestations and the vibrational frequency that your soul wants to channel onto this planet, So before we wrap it up, what are you doing for work with people? Are you focusing on your chiropractic, which, by the way, I love this field, and I didn't realize how spiritual that field was, but it really is. Even my chiropractor now, he's like, can you tell me about your Aya journey? I want to go. And another chiropractor that I met, she was a true healer. And I knew, she put her hands on me and I'm like, you're healing me. And she's like, shh, don't tell anyone. So you're doing it under the grid. And she's like, can't believe you felt that. I'm like, I feel that. Like, she'll touch and I can feel her energy moving within my field. And in fact, because I was like, are you sure that this is the mainstream, like you said, what you want to do? And she actually ended up like opening more of a healing modality facility while incorporating her chiropractic degree. She moved into more of the healing modality. So I love that. But then tell people if they want to get in touch with you, if they want to work with you, if they have questions, like what you do, how to get in touch with you, and what services you offer and stuff like that.
Sure. I of course offer chiropractic. I have been a huesera, or a bone setter, for many lifetimes, which is how I came to be a chiropractor in this lifetime. That's, the great thing about America is D.D. Palmer came along and he took an ancient healing art and we moved it forward to where it's a licensed profession to this day. And so that's something to be very grateful for. But as far as my shamanic healing work, the majority of the work that I do is whether it is a meditation-based astral journey. So I do guide people on an astral journey. And I also do a lot of shadow work. So I mainly use can we see this here? There's a little delay. Hope it pops up. But this is my obsidian mirror. And so, yeah, there it goes. So that's my obsidian mirror. And this is my main tool that I use for shadow work and shadow healing. That could be something as simple as what is in my unconscious that I want to bring forward in traumas. What is in my unconscious that I want to bring forward as far as my strengths and my assets. What is in my unconscious as far as ancestral trauma, and that could be here on Earth or your astral lineage. So we can use it for that. I've done work for pregnant women if they know that the child that they're bringing forward is coming in with very heavy karma. I've been able to release that karma before they are actually born here to Earth, so they have an easier journey. So again, it's mostly shadow work. It's definitely the deep stuff, I'm not afraid to go get deep and uncomfortable and talk about whatever it is that we need to uncover. No thing is really off limits. So it really is. I am a healer though. So it is really about clearing your auric field, your energetic body. And to the extreme, if you feel that you may have some kind of a not bueno entity attached to you in some way, or that may be attached to your ancestral line, I also do that sort of work as well.
So in Peru, I saw this. Everything you said, I actually saw a healer come in, like you were just talking about, worked with the shadow work of what people were holding on to, including potentially an entity attachment. And we watched this girl next to us. All of her lineage ancestry was being released. We could see it coming through her, which that was mind blowing. And then actually what was interesting is it went into the space, which ended up hitting some of us, but we filtered it through and it actually came out in breath work and in tears, which was a cleansing. So I'd never experienced anything like that. Like we cleansed the entire space together. And it was exactly what you said. Exactly. And then something in the Toltec, something that you just said about the Toltec, spoke about that. He speaks a lot about that. So I've seen everything that you're doing in real life. Like I've witnessed it. The traumas and getting that through. Oh, he talks about the wounds in the Toltecs. What you're talking about with the trauma, and this is for everyone to understand. We think we've mastered some of our childhood and we've mastered our trauma. All we've really done is set it aside and coped with it. Yeah. And as we're running around just trying to be human, people can trigger those wounds. And right. Then it causes us to shift into a different frequency and begin saying things that are not in alignment with our soul's purpose moving forward. So bringing that up and kind of bringing those wounds to the surface, which again is, I've learned from the Toltec culture, bringing those wounds to the surface, which made so much sense to me at that point, why it's so important, so that you're not being triggered and re-triggered and re-triggered, and just kind of, and the shadow work is some of the most valuable work you could ever do. And like he says, there's so many people walking around with these open wounds, and they said, look, if you had them open on your skin, you'd be like, oh, buddy, you got to go to the doctor. But we don't. They're inside. They're inside our spirit self. We can't see the wound. That doesn't mean they're not there, my friends.
Yes.
So I think, Jax, if you don't mind, can you put her email or her information in the banner?
Yes.
So
do that, as well as find me on Facebook or Instagram and message me directly as well. Reach out to me. And like I said, I don't take a lot of these cases, so I'm happy to do, I'm not really, it's deep work and it's very exhausting to go into trance and to, especially if I'm doing, deep auric healing. If I'm removing an entity, I'm definitely not seeing anybody else for the day. It is very spiritually taxing work. And it is also depending on, like, if we're just talking, hey, what's underneath and some basic human trauma, that's a lot easier than going in a lot deeper and looking at ancestral trauma or entity removal, going into that dark space that is dangerous even for my soul. And I may or may not come out of that. So I don't take a lot of those cases, but I am here to help people on those journeys. So if somebody here thinks that that is the type of healing that they need to explore and they need to experience, please reach out to me and I would love to help walk you through that journey.
And if you want a mini kind of experience with the both of us, we have the second Thursday of every month. We do a combo of sound bath and Reiki healing and some Toltec breath work. So Michelle is at Proactive Massage in Stuart, Florida. So all of our locals, definitely the spots are limited to only 5 per time. So we keep it very intimate. We keep the energy really, really tight. And that way you can experience a little bit like the surfacey, easier type of healing through these different modalities.
Yeah, I had to take a step back from the entity clearing. I did it for a while, but I had this entity through my introduction meeting with that entity, and that entity. And I was like, oh, I'm creating like hey, Bob, nice to see you. I didn't know you knew her too. And I was like, oh no, this is not working. And I don't know if I really thought I was strong enough, but it got to where I was strong enough and I was protected. But I have animals, I have children, I have people around me, and anyone who does that work, not to scare anyone, but you do want to be aware. And how is just imagine it kind of like, okay, you have like ants in your house, right? If you have ants in your house, you don't want to live with ants in your house. You want to call the exterminator to come and get the ants out. So to put it in the nicest way possible, and the ants are eating your food and causing chaos. They might even bite your feet while you're sleeping. Like, it's not fun. So the thing is that these little entities, they do get attached here or there. They come from familial roots. They come from your neighbors. You don't even know. The neighbor might be a weirdo. And because you're a light being, this entity is coming to hang out at your house. Now, many of us, especially the 3 of us here, we have our practices that keep us safe. We have our guides. We have our protection. We have our shields. We have this we take very seriously, which is why it's called Lightworkers United Training Academy, because unless you're actively training like you would train in the gym, unless you're actively training your spirit to stay protected, you potentially have an open chink in your armor, especially if you're not consciously armoring up vibrationally. So just having said that, if you feel like you're experiencing some kind of signs and symptoms where it feels like things just like either you're not really feeling good at home, your mind is feeling very tired and sluggish. Sometimes your thoughts that creep in, you're like, where did that thought come from? I was fine one moment and now the next moment I'm not feeling very good. Sometimes you can have physical aches and pains, sometimes sickness. can develop this way. And then also weird things happen, like, I don't know, you lose your keys or a tire pops or some kind of weird argument when you're driving in a vehicle, someone will cut you off. These are all kind of signs and symptoms that you have a little bit of energy that's in your field that you may want to tidy up your energetic field environmentally.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Love it.
So reach out if you have any of that. Well, I'm going to say, Mickey, it was so lovely having you on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for asking me, Jax. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we loved it. Thank you for all the information. I know that people watching this, we went really fringe on you. You get the three of us together. We're portals.
This is how we plug in. And sometimes we can't control the information that we need to just work out. And it's fun to be able to talk to like-minded people also, right? We don't get to scare each other off talking about all of these different things. And it's rare that you get to come across somebody that you can go down these deep holes.
Realize you're not alone. You're not strange.
Yeah, and
it's isolated.
And the fact that we all have these very similar downloads, there's truth to these downloads, that all three of us from different walks of life, from different areas, all come together on a Monday night of live and talk about the same damn thing. Like, there's no coincidence that this is happening.
Yeah. And we are looking for you guys out there who can understand us. We know a lot of you were like, what? Aliens, starseeds, entities? What is happening? Palladians, what does this mean? But I know there's a lot of you who are like, yeah, I understand that, right? And so come be a part of our tribe. And even for those of you who are even accidentally listening, there's no such thing as a coincidence.
Yes.
You know, your guides may be asking for a relationship. They may be sending you signs and symbols. Watch out for the messages that are around you all the time, whether it's a TV, whether it's a weird neighbor says something to you, whether it's something you heard on the radio and all of a sudden you're like, wow, that just answered my question. No coincidences. You're always being communicated with all the time. We just want to ensure that the voices that you're listening to only want what is your highest vibration for your highest self. We just want to be
here to love, support, and guide us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Jax is the best one. I'll never forget this. Your spiritual bouncers.
Yes, I love it. I should coin that term. So spirit bouncers, I don't call them spirit guides. I call them my bouncers. They are the ones that are protecting my private, safe, sacred space, my private club. And they stand there like this in front of my club. And if your name is not on this private list, this VIP list of you're not here to love, support, and guide us, you're not allowed in my safe, sacred space. And my safe, sacred space could be my whole house, my whole, wherever I am, because safe, sacred space is not necessarily four walls and a door. It is what you've created, your boundary around your area.
Yeah. And you can extend that to your family members and your pets.
Like Twilight. That's the best that I can.
Just like Bella. We think these are movies. These are not movies. These are messages from the other side. I was told, again, the government is fully aware of everything that we're speaking about, but they do not want this going out on the mainstream channels. So our star family's like, cool, we're just going to telepathically tell them. And you can't stop us from telepathically sending this information to
Which
them.
is how you were doing the mediumship with me, because I say this all the time, that sometimes we need a little bit of an analogy to be able to comprehend how we receive this information. So sometimes we're visual learners and we want to get this information out visually, and how we do readings and channel to how it resonates with us. So when I do readings, downloads, I do a lot of analogies, and how they come through is sometimes movies or TVs or books, like what you said. All of a sudden, I'll have a book in my Amazon cart. I don't even know how it got there or where it came from. And next thing I know, it's at my house. I don't remember ever ordering it. But it's something that has changed my life. And this has happened so many times. So just be able to recognize all of these amazing
signs,
symbols,
communication. The communication is there. They're not just talking to us. They're talking to all of you all the time. The messages are always there.
And overanalyze the information that's coming through.
Well, the first thing you have to believe that it's even possible, right? There's your number one thing, and have faith. I think they wrote that in the Bible somewhere. Have faith. believe. That was like not some cliche, quote. They were like, straight up, guys, you got to believe it. And then we can talk to you and ask. You got to ask for help. Signs, symbols, and messages. You just have to ask, and they'll send you. Now, just like chat, which is funny, just like chat, you have to ask, but you have to say, please no harm. Like, I want to learn my lesson. Can you make it gentle? Because otherwise, like, all right, well, I'll get you to stop and give you diabetes. This is good. Did this help you? Right? No, we want to put a caveat on that. Like, hey, look, highest vibrational. I don't want to be like in harm. And I have asked for help, and I've had my car wrecked. I've had my ankle broken. I mean, they love me through it, but it changed my trajectory, and I asked for help. So now I'm like, I'll do it myself. I got this.
The same thing like Moana. That's what just came to me. She's like, Ocean, please help me. Please help me get to wherever I need to go. And this huge storm comes into the water, and she's like, oh, gee, thanks. Like, now I have this huge storm that I have to now face. And she wakes up, and she's exactly where she's supposed to be.
Yeah. I was asking for help while I was walking on the beach, and I was talking to my guides, and there was people sitting in a group right here. And as I walked by and I asked for a sign and a message, they answered my question. They didn't turn around. They answered it out loud that I heard it. And I wish I could remember exactly what was said, but it was like, yes, you're headed in the right direction. And I was like, and I looked at them, and they just continued talking to themselves. And I was like, oh my God, you're hijacking people around me to give me messages. Like, if I can't hear it, because when you try so hard, it's like your gates close, like you're trying so hard, like you're blocking the messages. So they hijacked those people and got them to speak. And when you've experienced so many things like we have, like bags rolling up and just weird, unexplained things, you learn that you're in relationship and partnership with the universe. Like that's your best friend, your best resource, the air you breathe comes from this collective universe. And like, I can't imagine living without that collaboration and connection.
No.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mickey. We're going to say goodbye.
Thank you.
We'll talk a little bit, but thank you so much. And I know we'll see you again. Me and Jax are always figuring out fun things to do. In fact, we're probably going to talk about this. Before we leave, I want to do an event. I want to do a love fest.
Ooh, I love it.
Be a part, and we can collaborate, and we can talk and share this message, and maybe have music and vegan food, and and I want to make it donation based. And I just really want to make it donation based. So that means there's a lot of people who are going to have to like decide if they want to be a part of it for free. And I understand that paper might be a thing, but I feel that if we open it up to donation, I believe that people will donate how they can and when they can. And I know that the universe will support us. I don't know how, what, or why, but I believe in the universe.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful week, and we will definitely talk soon. Again, if you want to see or reach out to Michelle, I'm going to put your thing back up here one last time, or the second Thursday of every month at the Proactive Massage in Stewart, where you get a combination of sound bath, and you can sign up through sempure.com, SEMPPURE.com for any of the sound baths. The one in Stewart, you will have Michelle doing Reiki and Toltec breathwork as well.
Yeah. I love breathwork. Breathwork's amazing if you haven't tried it. It's better than
there's a whole bunch of different breathworks.
Amazing. All right, thank you, Mickey.
Have a good night.
All right. That was fun. I have something in my eye. I made it all the way through.
Aye.
Well, that was totally fringe. It's my kind of conversation. Metaphysical mayhem. All the weird stuff.
And by the way, I met somebody who specifically does events and puts them on and does the entire whole back office of them, and has done this for like 25 years through colleges and leadership programs and everything. Mm-hmm. So we just met yesterday, and I said, this is something that you and I were talking about and wanting to do. And she's like, I'm totally on board. This is exactly where I want to go, because she's also been pushed out of a previous position and thrown into the universe to decide what her next steps are going to be.
Well, my heart, and this has been 10 years
at least,
that I want to throw an event at the Lake Worth stage. It's in the center of Lake Worth. And I don't know whether the city, I haven't seen a lot of events there, but I want to talk to the city and just ask them, how impossible is this? Is this possible? Is this impossible? I want to tell them what we're planning on doing. And there's a stage, there's an audience, there's the intercoastal water, and a big banyan tree. And I just, it's, my heart is there. I've been going to this place for 20 years. I've done events there through other events. I've danced on the stage before. And this is where I want to throw my event. I want to get local.
Seen it. I think it's just coming to fruition. I think that you're feeling pulled there because it's already happened on a different timeline.
Yeah. And I want to go and talk to the city and say, what do you need from me? What does this look like? I want to then reach out to all the businesses within a 2-mile radius, tell them that this is a donation-based event. But
it's a way to spotlight them and a spotlight their themselves.
Yeah, and even getting a printing place that wants to donate printing, and getting a chiropractor that wants to donate some chiropractor. And I want even like local artists who want to get their name out to come and perform on stage. And certain speakers will pick throughout the day, and they have like a 10-minute slot of speaking. And then we have music, and then we have, a little panel of conversations, and we have local kids coming up. And maybe and another thing I want to see is like different representation.
And we'll put it up live.
Yeah, love it. We'll stream it live. And I want different representations of different cultures. So I keep seeing bringing the cultures together, like she was speaking about. Who does she want to represent? The Toltec culture, the Native American culture, the Jamaican culture, the Jewish culture, and just give them a voice and a community and a connection and
a community of togetherness.
Love fest. And I want to open it up to be donations. So even like a vegan place, I want them to serve the food for free.
Yes, sponsor them. Have them sponsor their food. They get themselves out there. They're able to promote their business for free. It's
feed the community. And I even want like the homeless people. You come in, have a seat. Do you need some clothes? Come in. I just want it to be
a safe, sacred space.
Yeah. And I want to talk to the sacred masculine, because the reality is yes, there's going to be police there who are going to be monitoring it. But I want to specifically speak to the sacred masculine and remind them that they are our sacred protectors here on this earth. We rely on them to keep us safe. We are physically not as strong as them. We are, and they've lost that
talk today.
And they've lost a little bit of their purpose. And that has turned and twisted into something that's not necessarily healthy for them, but it's because they've lost their sacred masculine purpose. And then I want to honor the sacred feminine. We have also been pushed to be sacred protectors, and we're like, okay, I love being a protector, but like I'm just like a mom. I want to be like a mom. I want to protect my children. I want a safe home. I want to know that my home is being protected, and I just want to talk a little bit about restoring balance and giving them. And like I saw this on a larger scale where like all of the men in the audience, you're here to protect us. You don't have a badge. You're here to watch our backs, whoever you are, sir. So now we have 100 men in our space looking out for us. And then we have 100 women nurturing and making sure that everyone is fed, because that's what we do. We like to feed people. I don't know, call me and I'm going back to my roots. I like to cook food.
Hunter and gatherers.
And take care of people and nurture people and play with puppies and children. This is what I like to do. And look pretty. I like to be pretty too.
And so, yes, there is a balance. So I just had this exact download, and I was just talking about it earlier today. All about balance and how the divine feminine has now shifted, where a lot of feminine women have now stepped into their masculine energy, and a lot of men have stepped into their feminine energy, all because there has to always stay that balance. So we've just switched places, yet there's still the same equal amount of balance. So we just have to now go, I want mine back, and I'll give you yours back. I want to live in my divine feminine, and I want you to go back to your masculine energy, so that we have that actual balance where it used to be, where we used to thrive under. And we knew our roles as a person was, and we were protected, and we were able to step into our nurturing and feminine energy, where we felt that once you cultivate our feminine energy, we give back nothing but love, and we
Nothing
are
but
able
love.
to release any of this tension
Yeah.
because we've been living lately in our divine masculine, and I don't.
We are, look, I speak for the majority of women out there. We don't want to live in our masculine. We want to clean our houses, nurture our space, grow our flowers, cook your dinners. We do. We want to dress up and look pretty and be able to take care of ourselves. We want to take care of our children. We want to nurture our animals. We want to help our communities. And yes, and that doesn't mean we can't open our own businesses, but we're not looking to conquer Wall Street. We're not looking to say, I'm going to pay all my bills, and sir, you're going to
build a house.
You're cooking food for us. Like, no. And I love the feminist movement, and I understand why it needed to happen. But also, as women, like, my favorite time was being a stay-at-home mom. Now, having said that, unfortunately, the reason why the government keeps inflating, and I really am not totally against the government. I understand they're trying to do its best, because I believe everyone's trying to do its best. But what they've done is make it so that we cannot afford a single income home.
Correct.
And men want to be out of the house working. They want to work. They want to provide. They want to bring home money. They want space from the women and children. We honor you. We love that. They need a little space. They love it. They love to go provide and hunt and bring home paper for wife and food.
Yes, but also getting the mother out of the home, you have to stick the children in school and have the government raise the children and not and make them into 9-to-5 workers. And not be able to have the woman be home raising her family.
Yeah. So we are taking our lives
back.
Okay, we're taking our lives back.
Yes.
And this is what I mean. But in order to take it back, in which I loved, someone in one of my workshops said, and I loved this, in order to take something away, you must replace it legitimately. So we're going to take away this imbalance, but then we really need to give the men a purpose and give them, honestly, like, I don't mind them being leaders. I want to respect my man, respect him as a leader in my home, respect him as my provider and my protector, and the one I look to and count to for guidance to make those final decisions. I will give you all the options. I will create all the options. And I will even do anything that you advise me, but I want to rely on you as my voice of reason and my wisdom and my strength and my brain when I'm a bit tired of making so many decisions. And men need to feel that way again. But what's happened a little bit is there were so many divorced families that have happened that men were raised by single women, and they were, in a way, I feel, not on purpose, but potentially demasculated by controlling mothers who manipulated the boys in a way like that. But it's not their fault. It takes two people to raise a baby. Okay. So that boy needed a father. And even me, I'm alone. Now my daughter in there, she will be like, oh, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, where's the man? Tell her she has to listen to me. You don't listen to your mother. I'm like, I don't have that. So now I tell her something, she's mean, and I'm like, listen to your mother. And I'm like, I hate having both roles. And I don't use the word hate, so I'm going to take that back. But it's not easy having both roles. And even I have my son, and he was telling me, like, oh, I had this thing at work where they underpaid me, and I had my sacred feminine was like, I'm so sorry that happened. That's really an injustice. And now I'm like, switch hats. Sacred masculine. Tough it up, kid. You got to get through. You have to show up for work anyway. You can't go quitting your job. And he got upset. And I was like, and it sucks because I had to be the nice one and the mean one all wrapped up in one. And it's not really how it's meant to be. And I'm even thankful that at times I will text my daughter's father and I'm like, you talk to her. She's giving me attitude at home and I don't deserve that. And I'm not going to sit here and yell because it's unattractive. I don't want to yell.
I get it. And I literally just had this conversation today. Like I said, I was out and I was volunteering into the community. I do that a lot. And I met my friend's boyfriend, and he has been in the military, I don't know what branch, for 20 years. And I said, well, now that you're retired, what is it that you can do? Can you grab my boys and, rough and tough them? Because he said, listen, not every father or not every man or not every relationship even teaches these boys what a role model man should even look like. So they don't know what to even aspire to. I know that I have 2 boys and I'm very hard on them because I want them to grow up to be men that are independent, successful, and happy men. And I have a funny story. Even my son, who's 15, was dating a girl. He wanted to take her out on a date and said, I would love to buy your ticket. And she goes, no, my mom told me that I have to pay my own bills and pay my own way. I'm an independent woman. And he said to her, he goes, I'm not trying to pay your bills. I'm trying to take you out and wine and dine you and take you out on a date, like to have a good time. So there's this different mentality that we're even teaching our daughters. The worst thing is, yes, we're not trying to take away your independence, but it is okay to live in your divine feminine and be taken care of emotionally and mentally and physically.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I feel, in fact, it's very clear that if we can switch this narrative and genuinely accomplish this mission and give men back their power,
Their manhood,
and give them and remind them about the sacred protector. If you can give the man the role of a sacred protector, he will not be harming the women, and women are being harmed on a global scale starting at a very young age.
Yes. It's so sad. And there was definitely not this high divorce rate ever.
No, but I've seen these women, and I'm not blaming men. These women are mean to their men.
They are nasty,
disrespectful.
They're in their masculine energy, and it's not natural for them.
They are destroying these men, and even the men, when they make the little things like smaller, because they've been so damaged, they do these little things. It's not good enough. It's not really great. You call that a man? It's like, whoa. No wonder he's like, escape, leave. What do you do with women? I don't know. Watch porn. Like, what else do you do with them? All they do is yap, 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 and yell. And this is what's happened. We've gotten out of balance.
I would say to even my husband, I'm like, if I'm doing this, and I'm doing everything, what do I need you for?
Yeah.
What do I need you for? You need to step up and be a man. I need you to be my partner. Yeah. And, this, and a lot of people right now, they just... And I judge no one, and whatever works for you. And sometimes divorce does work for some people that are in a different type of way. But a lot of people don't work through even just those simple challenges. And marriage is hard work. I've been with my husband for 22 years. And there are days that I definitely don't want him to, I want to unlive him. But I won't do it. Because I need him in my life. He is my balance. He is my best friend. And we've formed the open communication and trust between the two of us over the years. And that is the secret to any relationship. If you do not have trust and open communication where one person is not walking on eggshells, afraid to be their authentic self, and the other one is, or vice versa. So if both of you are not suppressing and you're able to fully open up to the other person and communicate fully how you feel and what you're thinking, and be able to express it and not suppress it, and trust that the other person is still going to be there and not judge you for all of that expression, that's what makes a marriage last. But if one person within the balance of the two is doing all the work and the other one is doing nothing, that's an imbalance. And that's why people are saying, you know what, this is too hard for me.
Forget it.
I'm done.
I'm leaving. I'm going to go talk to that Starbucks barista who, by the way, she doesn't see how you leave your socks there. She doesn't see how you don't put the dishes away. She doesn't see how you conveniently forget to take the trash out. Like, the grass is never greener on the other side.
Swear.
It's not.
Just thinking that.
No.
It's not.
So now the only time that I understand is if you're with like a very unhealthy, narcissistic, toxic, abusive partner.
But then you're not able to be your authentic self in that situation anyway.
Other than that, and that's probably the reason why I haven't been married, because I will not divorce. So, and I have been around interesting partners, but I've needed my life lessons and I've appreciated that. And I haven't found someone that I would commit my life to and trust to lead and guide me in a way that I believe is healthy for me. It doesn't have to be perfect, but when I get married, I'm not getting divorced. So we're not doing this for fun. So unless you're on the same page with me and we're willing to like get through this to the other side, which I haven't seen, but that may not be my particular role here, and that's okay. You know, but I think you have a fantastic relationship and a good marriage and a good husband and a good family. And I would 100% see that through to the end, you know, based on good communication. It's a healthy environment. You know, the kids are healthy. Yeah.
Might be loud communication, but we definitely express and don't suppress.
Yeah, but it's okay if it's loud as long as it's not harmful, right? There's a difference when you're like, do what I said, or you're like a bad person and you're a failed human. Like that's the difference. You can say that loud or quiet. You know, we are always loud. We're loud communicators as well. Somebody like shh. I'm like, we're not a shh.
I'm a loud person.
We're
My
loud.
husband's like, stop screaming. I'm like, this isn't talking. I am not screaming.
Yeah.
Actually, it's so funny. When Caleb, my oldest, was much younger, and I remember I was still up in Jersey, and I'm driving down the road with my mother, and we're talking, and he's like, Mommy, why do you always argue with Grandma? And both of us turned around and looked at him like,
we're not arguing.
It was like normal conversation between the two of us.
Yeah, they say that with me and my sisters and my mother. They can't be around me and my sisters and my mother. Like, no man, they just stare at us like we're leaving. We're like, and we're all talking over. Like, she can have a conversation, I can have a conversation. We're all having four-way conversations at the same time. Each of us understanding everything that's going on, and we're loud, but that's how we talk.
I'm one of three girls with my mother too. So the four of us women get together, and my husband very well knows that he's like, I'm not entering that den.
I'm out.
I'm not entering that den.
Father China.
Exactly what's going to happen, especially when my grandmother was still here and my grandmother wasn't. He's like, nope, too much estrogen. Too many of the Barrett women. I'm like, I just cannot. I will not.
And that's okay. And I don't even need them. No, we have the men in our family retreat as well, but it's pretty funny. Like, you got to have some tough skin and understand the girls are the girls. That's how we talk. Yeah. And even we can even get well, I didn't appreciate when you did that. Yeah, well, I didn't either. Okay, well, I'll be better next. Cool. And then we move it back down. Like, we are like, done. It's done.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So what do you have? Anything going on in the next week?
Well, we have the next week, Thursday at Proactive Massage. We have our sound bath, which is not this Thursday, but the following Thursday. And we will be doing Reiki, Toltec breathwork, and sound bath. And it is amazing. If you are in the Port St. Lucie area, not Stewart, and you're in the Port St. Lucie area, I will be doing a sound bath for parent and child combo. Yes, which I'm so excited about. It's going to be on the Wednesday, the 19th. And in Fort Pierce, so I'm going up. Fort Pierce is the second Tuesday or the third Tuesday of the month at the Fort Pierce Women's Club. And they will be doing also, I will be doing a sound bath there for any gender, but you have to reserve your chair if you want a chair. Otherwise, you can bring your yoga mat.
All right. I love that. Next Monday, we have Kimberly coming up. Let's see what her name is. So what's so fantastic about her, why you may not, like, if you're listening, don't miss this, because this is the first time I heard that she energetically believes that there has been a debt ceiling, a financial.
Oh, we've been talking about. This is her.
Energetic financial debt ceiling has been placed on us. And you know what? I can freaking almost feel that, because like, you can sit there and work, you can do all this stuff, and then all of a sudden we just keep hitting this, what feels like a wall. Her name is Kimberly Campbell Sherry, and so we will be speaking to her next week, and I'm really excited to hear. And she's got even a meditations, and she's got I wonder if she'll give us like a minute. Can we like
code breaker
hack the Matrix debt ceiling, please? We'll bring her on and see what she can do. And I'm curious to see if that pushes us through. So, and I believe, all right, Elon Musk hacked that. A few of them have somehow.
When I think of this, I think of, I don't know if you've ever played The Sims, where you can do like that, whatever, not Control Alt Delete because that's different, but like there's like some numbers that you hit and you put in like the cheat code on top called Motherload, and then you get $50,000 just like that.
So I love that.
Same concept.
Yeah, this is straight up what she's saying. And you know what? I've seen a grid. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw a grid. I have felt a grid. I know that this is some sort of simulation. I know that this is some sort of, playing field, and anything can be hacked. And I did see my mother through a wall. And if I saw my mother through a wall, like how do you hack a concrete wall? But I saw that. So there's a lot we don't understand. And so we're on the grid. We're on the path to figuring out what the heck is actually going on here. And I'm down to hack the Matrix and hack my debt ceiling. I could use that right now. And then after that, guys, I'm in Mexico. So that'll be, I may or may not be plugging in from Mexico. I'm going to work with an organization who builds houses. Each house is $6,000 to build, and it builds a house for a family in Mexico. And we're building something like 15 houses in 3 days, something crazy like that. And I want to be a part of this. And I want to build these houses in Jamaica. I want to build these houses in Morocco. I want to get involved with this particular organization. I just love what they're doing. So I'm going there, connecting. I may be live from Mexico, but otherwise Jack's maybe bringing on a guest and kind of handling that show. I may plug in for a bit, but who knows? You're in Mexico. And Jax, you'll love this. I don't have any hotel plans for when I get there. Like,
I'm not surprised at all. Well, again, if you need a travel companion, I will be more than happy to set all of your travel needs for you, for whatever it is that you need.
Yeah, well, I would like to be involved with these people more often. I think and I really do believe that I'm being led to open this GoFundMe page for whatever that looks like. I'm just going to do it because I'm being led to do it. I don't even know what that'll turn into or what it'll grow into, but a lot of what I'm doing, I don't want to be blocked by financial terms. I want to be able to work and do what I need to do and get this information out. And I'm just going to trust that the universe is going to provide for me somehow. Yes. And I want to be able to help these houses and grow and just develop. And
I hate how GoFundMe though takes such a high percentage. It's so crazy.
Is it?
There are other programs that are community driven kind of fund me pages, and I just applied. I'm hoping to hear back hopefully by the next week to work with a nonprofit organization that actually they're the umbrella that works with all other nonprofits and helps them get up off the ground and supports them financially and gets them growing to the point where they're so self-sufficient that they are now left on their own.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
This is something that's also very near and dear to my heart. I've told you that I wanted to do the World Healing 33 and working with trying to have somebody's healing journey supported financially. I don't want to ever have money come between somebody healing versus not getting healed.
Yeah. I don't want the money to stop this. Well, if you don't have $5,000, you don't get to know how the universe talks to you. Sorry. Does that even feel right?
No.
Sound right? If you don't have $5,000, you don't get to know how the universe is talking to you. Sorry. Cough it up, kids.
But even like the simple things, like even the little things, a lot of people are so afraid to even ask for help. So
I have trouble asking for help.
Especially financially.
I have because when I was younger, I learned to do everything by myself. It was just the environment I was in. I learned to do it all by myself. So I have, in fact, just one of the hardest missions and lessons that I have is learning how to ask people for help. And that's the one thing that causes me a little bit of pause, because I'm like, I have to ask people for things. Like, no, I'll just figure out how to fund it all myself somehow. But then I'm like, no, but maybe it's not a mission if it's easy, or it wouldn't be called a mission.
Correct.
If God gave you easy missions, they wouldn't be called missions.
And this is exactly what I want to do is, like I said, if somebody were to be able to give just $1 a month, and we were able to grow the community to 1 million people, let's just say, which is what I see, right? $1 million a month, we could heal the world.
How many people we could help? Oh my God! How many houses we could build?
Houses.
No, people are not hungry.
I mean,
you can get peace workers over in the Middle East, like
yes, trees.
Redistribute the finances, redistribute the wealth.
Yes.
And
bring back balance.
Yeah, bring back balance. That's what I meant.
We're
that government, I tell you. And I
bring back balance in the nice way.
You said it nice.
I don't want to get shut down.
I just feel like we need to unplug from the matrix society that they're trying to create, the stronghold, the slavery, the 9 to 5, the taxes, you can't drive your vehicle without 3 levels of insurance and car payments. You can't travel. You can't have a house. You can't open a business. You need this license and that tax license. If you don't have that, we're going to fee you. And we're going to, you think you're ever going to pay off your house? You're never going to pay off your house because the government wants your taxes, your property taxes. If you can't pay the property taxes, they're going to kick you out of your home that you paid your entire life for. You will never own a home in the United States. You will never own a property in the United States because you have to pay your government taxes or they will take your property. And it's something like $400 or $500 if you don't have a home on it. If you have a home on it, it's a lot more.
I just got my property tax bill today, actually.
So
$6,500.
Oh my God.
Yep. If I pay by December 1st.
Guys, this is a scam. And here's the thing is that we are stronger together. And I know I'm just here. And I tell you what, we start talking about this on TikTok, they will take it down. We start talking about, taxes and property taxes, they will take it down.
Like even before the government got involved, we never had cemeteries. People buried their loved ones in their backyards and they got their home passed down from generation to generation. And now we have to pay for lots and we have
to pay for everything.
Pay for everything.
You can't even get water unless you pay for it.
My husband had to live in the $4.
I remember having to tell my son that. My son was like, I want to go live in the woods. And I was like, you can't live in the woods because they are owned by someone. He's like, what? I can't even live in the woods. And I was like, there's nowhere that you can live in this world. And I don't know if it's this world, but in this country that doesn't either belong to someone, they can kick you out. These homeless people are having to sleep on like this corner and that corner because it's all owned. They're riling them up, bringing them to jail. They can't even give them a fucking house. They can give them a house.
Which is
off track. And I tell you what, God is not tolerating it. God is making things messed up because until we change our ways, things are going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And I know that this isn't in our hearts. This is in the hearts of the people who have the power. And they're not potentially making the best or healthiest choices for us as a nation and as a civilization and as a species. And it's up to us to find another way. It's the only way. It's the only way. We have to we have to get away from them. And everyone's talking about getting land, 100 acres, 40 acres. Bring your tiny house. Let's work the land together. My sister's talking about it. My son talked about it. Compound living. And taking ourselves out of this paper. Think about it. We can't eat it, drink it, or smoke it. We don't need it. We need food, water, and shelter. What else do we need? What do we really need? Each other. Books. We need books. We need education. We want to learn. Maybe we step in to have one spot where we keep an internet open where, but it should be in it should be in like a hazmat suit with the 5D tinfoil, wrapped in tinfoil.
Covered with shungite and copper.
If you want to step into the 5D.
Clean water, clean food.
Food and community. And,
and medicine. A village to raise a family.
Which is like what you said, like having that different male influence, adding to your son's education as being a part of a male. That's not taking anything away from your husband because your husband has taught them how to be gentle and kind and respectful and good natured boys. And then you have this guy's going to teach them how to like sacred protector, take him down, right? Same thing with women. You can teach my daughter how to do all your fun stuff that you do. And I can teach your kids how to do what I do. And this is what makes us beautiful as a community. We don't need the silly paper to get in the way. And if the world falls down and if the world is crumbling and they're handing you $10,000, you're like, what do I do with this?
Burn it to keep me warm.
Burn it. I can't even turn it into anything useful
other than fire.
Yeah. So we really have, they've got us drinking the Kool-Aid, guys. We are drinking this Kool-Aid, and it's up to us to stand together as a species and and figure out a way to bypass the financial institution that we've created. And there is a way with our time, our energy, our resources, our assets, and our skill sets and our trades. So someone wants to come in and your skill set is to build, you can build, you can do tile, we can clean, we can cook, we can gather, we can grow. Someone knows how to create water. Someone can build an irrigation.
Yeah.
We can do this, but we need to take ourselves out of the
matrix,
the financial infrastructure. Really, it's the only way that we might stand a chance moving forward in this weird place we're living in. Because I'm telling you, the financial institution is crumbling.
Oh,
we're going into fake digital money. Like, no one knows what crypto is. No one.
It's a credit card, basically. It's a credit card.
It's Jax. They're mining ether and air.
The cloud. I'm aware.
No,
this
is a giant retarded.
Well, because it used to be
on probably how stupid can we be?
Well, there used to be, this much money got printed based on how much gold we had.
Yeah, that's
now
all.
That they've gotten rid of that, there's nothing that is saying I identify as a millionaire. I am a millionaire right now. I officially declare myself a millionaire.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go out and say I have this much credit.
How much paper I have here? Look,
my paper, and I want a house. That's basically it.
Can I have a house with this paper here? You take it. Look, I got lots of paper here. Can I now? Am I?
I'll even color it green to make it look.
Yeah, I even draw a dollar sign on it. I'm sorry. I just guys, if we actually took a step back and stood together and realized the absurdity and
Did you hear the newest one where they're putting Trump on money? Technically, yeah. Even though it goes against all the rules and regulations of the, it has to be a dead president for a certain amount of time or something along those lines. Yeah, and
he's getting his own money printed. Stop.
Yep, and he's getting away with it somehow, some way, through some regulation.
Well, I love it. You know why? Because it's adding to the ridiculousness. This is why I don't mind it. We are in an absolute ridiculous society, and I'm not going Trump. I'm not going Biden. I'm not Democrat or Republican. I have no dog in that race. I want no part of it. I've unplugged from that matrix because the reality, the border was open, and now you got remodels going on and money being printed. Like, we as a species need to unplug from the ridiculousness and think about what it looks like to support ourselves, our community, and our family without the paper, the financial paper. We really need to make an effort on what that looks like. And bartering our fees, which is fair energy exchange, is the way to do it. And I think that part of me wanted to do this GoFundMe with the dollar, but then underneath it, what service can you offer as a barter? Well, I can offer internet services. I can offer marketing services. I can offer business services, networking services. You do readings. Great. You need your website built. I'll build your website. I want 5 readings for that. Cool. I think that's worth 5 hours of my time. Thank you. We've taken money out of it. You're still gaining your value. They're still gaining their value, but we're not paying taxes and we're not exchanging paper and we're not paying the government. And we're all just kind of saying,
well, here's the thing. Right now, I'm working alongside of a lot of fundraisers, and I don't have the financial freedom to just spend 80 here, 275 here, 125 there, and all of these different yet. I don't have any financial freedom yet. But I said, I would love to attend your fundraiser, how can I volunteer? How can I give you my time, which is far more valuable, I feel, than any amount of dollar. And so they were like, absolutely, I would absolutely love this, because it means more for me to align myself energetically through my time and helping.
And that's helping. You're helping. You're not just handing someone a $100 bill.
Correct.
It's easy to hand someone a $100 bill, a $100 piece of paper. This is your time, your energy, your effort, and energy exchange, fair energy exchange.
Yes.
I think it's a movement. I'm going to keep talking about it. I started making some TikTok videos about it. I'm just going to keep talking about it. God tells me to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. And what's interesting is there were several other people who received the same download all at the same time.
I received the word fee. Like the fee came to me. It was Fair Energy Exchange, FEE. And I was like, this is totally, because I was struggling at one point. Like, do I charge for my gifts? What do I do for these? And it was a hard time for me to go through. And this download came through that said, no, it is a Fair Energy Exchange. FEE. You need to charge something, not necessarily financial, but there has to be some type of an energy exchange within the transaction.
Yeah, and I love that. And that's why, like, even with this donation-based love fest that I'm calling it, this donation,
and that came out intuitively between the two of us.
Yeah, that was not that long ago, right? That this came, and I hit it again this weekend. They came to me again this weekend. Some people will have $1,000 to give, 5,000. Thank you. Other people will have food to offer. Thank you. Other people will have printing services they can offer. Other people will have like a vehicle that they can give. But even that vehicle, I'd love to trace it back to where the parts are being donated. I'd love to trace it back to where scholarships are being donated, or someone's medical care is being donated, not paid for by someone. Donated. The doctor is donating their time to someone who needs care. The pharmaceutical companies are donating medicine. I think they should have to donate. Furthermore, last rant, I'm sitting at a restaurant this weekend and there was an elderly couple. She was like 82, he's 86. He's like, what do you mean you paid $15 to park? You know you don't have the money to pay $15. I don't know. I had to park. It was $15. It wouldn't let me out of the garage. He's like, next time you run through that garage. You don't stop. You're not paying that money. She's like, they took my license. I'm going to get arrested. And I'm like, guys, what have we done? We have this elderly woman paying $15 to park her car. She can't feed herself. She can't get her medicine because we're charging her $15 to park her vehicle. And I was just like on fire about that. I'm like, if you're over 75 to 78, you're free. You don't have to, you go to the grocery store and you buy whatever food you want. And you go to the medicines. And if you're over, you are just free. Your home is free. You don't have to pay taxes anymore. Your medicine's free. Your doctor's visits are free. You are free. We are donating your life for the next 10 years of your life. Done.
We don't take care of our elder, first of all.
No, we do not.
And in this country, my husband had a very similar experience that touched me very much, because he is that kind of person, that he was a locksmith for many years before his fall. And he did this as a side thing. And he had a boss that said, you need to make it look like you're doing a harder job so you can charge an upcharge more. This poor woman who had obviously just gone food shopping, put all of her groceries in her car and locked her keys in the car by accident. Now all of her food is spoiling, whatever a little amount she had in there. And she called the service, and my husband came out and unlocked in 1, 2, 3 and said, it's this amount of money. And she looked and she goes, I don't have it. His boss told him to relock the doors.
No.
And he said, I'm sorry, I can't work for you anymore. That was it. That he couldn't do it. He's like, it takes me 2 seconds to do. How do I charge this poor lady who just spent her last little bit of savings on food that's now spoiling in her hot car in the middle of Florida? And I could,
and it's $75 to unlock your car door.
It was more than that. He was trying to charge
$150. Yeah. So I'm wondering if we can't create a TikTok movement on, if you're over 75, let us all know. Let's create a movement where if they go into it and they want a bagel and a coffee, I'm asking you as restaurants and as grocery stores and as doctors and as pharmacists and as chiropractors that you see these people for free. Donate your time and watch how the world begins to shift, but it's going to start with each individual person making a choice to donate their time. And then allow the universe to redisperse, and allow the universe to work how the universe is going to work. Like, we're so like, oh, I don't know, even though you're elderly and 82, that's going to cost you $100. And they're like that's like a third of their social security that they're living on. I mean, I'm embarrassed for us as a species.
I am too, as a country, because there are many wonderful countries that do.
Yeah, like I hear they take care of their
amazing values for their elder. They literally take care of. There's countries and parts of within the countries that you're not allowed to drive a car through it. All of the food is 100% clean. There's no pollution. There's bicycles only. Friendly people living in a village style community, and we have just completely destroyed
collaboration
concept.
No, we don't. We just don't care. We've just lost. It's because we're so tired.
Realistic.
We're so abused, because I don't believe that's really in our heart. I think we're exhausted, and we're being forced to fight for financial freedom.
Yes.
Or we're going to be homeless and thrown out on the streets.
Well, that's what they taught us in school.
Yeah. And so that's why we're like, yeah, I don't care, old lady or 80,
your whole life.
That'll be $49. No. So, but I feel like with enough of us speaking about it and speaking out loud about it, just like that guy who's like, you know what, I'm opening up this food pantry. And, you know, maybe all I can do is open this donation-based thing where, hey, give us $1 and tell us where you live and what can you offer volunteering for your fee. For your time. Like, I'm not looking for unless you want to donate money. Thank you if you donate. If you have it and you feel like that's the way you can donate, great. But if you don't and you feel like you can donate your time for that, then let's just see what that, if you feel like I have a car, like I can give people rides. Like, we don't need to go to Uber. And like, I believe that will come back full circle. You know, we'll just see what that looks like. So I don't know. I think there's something there.
It's that exchange. When you put it out, it comes back. It's karma. Karma's not necessarily always bad. There's good karma too.
Yeah. Oh,
and that's why I started the movement, Healing the World 33, because 33 is the master number of healing. And I wanted to grow this movement. This is the movement I started years ago already. And I took us, the world wasn't ready for it yet, apparently. And now it's coming back full circle. You know, doing this Healing the World 33. I already have a Facebook page that has been around for, a few years now. And I wanted to create this movement where everybody it's $1. Like, that is less than what you pay for your Netflix, your Amazons, your Hulu's, your coffees, these are priorities, people. So if we're going to be a very materialistic country and we're going to just want to keep up with the Joneses and just keep getting and it's quantity over quality, and instead of realizing that we have as a country so many amazing people to heal, the children and the elders and the middle class that's disappearing now, and being able to help give somebody the benefit of healing in whatever they needed. Maybe it's healing through needing their water bill paid for that month, because that's all that they have to toss between electric and water, you know. So if I had a pool of finances or even donations, which I think is such an amazing thing, if somebody doesn't have money but they still want to participate in the healing journey of somebody and they want to donate some of their services or trades or products, that too, it is a movement.
Yeah, because I think, again, it's not like, oh, someone paid your scholarship for school. I want the school to donate the scholarship. I want the school to choose to donate that child or that person or that college student's education. I don't want them, oh, I received 50 grand because someone gave me the money, so sure, congrats. No, I want a car place to choose to donate a vehicle to someone. Like, I want them to make a choice. That's what I want to see. I want people to step up and make a choice and see what people are really willing to share and give and create this movement again where it's moving. And what you don't realize is that you donate an education to someone who then ends up becoming president. How is that coming full circle back to your school? You know that how much your school is going to grow and be taken care of and go into like the history books. Like, we don't know the ripple.
Yeah.
But
and
we got to give ourselves a chance to create a ripple.
And that's here in this country. This is a very greedy country, because in other countries, education is free.
I know.
And doctors are free. And a lot of other services are free. It's this country. It's not even the whole world. It's this country that it becomes almost embarrassing to see how terrible we are to each other and how greedy some people are with any of their services or money. And they are very stingy because of this fear vibration that they don't know if they release it, they might not get it back.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I've seen too. Well, I love what we're doing. I love that we're collaborating. I love that we're talking about it. At least I think if we just keep talking about it, eventually it will go. It's going off in the grid. See all the light behind that Lightworkers United? When we speak about this stuff, it goes out on a grid, and every single person receives this message, this transcription, this communication goes out on a grid. So I know that this just hit the world network frequency news, and we'll see how many people step up and bring it to the plate and create something. You know,
we're gonna create I feel like there should be some type of a Luta GoFundMe, but not necessarily GoFundMe. For whatever reason, I have something against GoFundMe. I feel that it's over. I don't know what it is. It feels very negative to me personally. But there are so many community-based FundMe pages that are about giving back and not taking such a high percentage away from the actual place doing what it is they're doing. Even if we set up a separate account where you just Zelle straight to that account or Venmo or whatever it is, instead of having to take such a high percentage, I want the funds to go to where they're supposed to go. I want a sign-up sheet where somebody says, I'm going to send you food and I'm going to disperse the food to a local food bank. I want somebody to be able to send other types of donations that they may be clearing out of their house, and that they want to be able to have abundance of, overstock of, and we create a whole warehouse where people can come shopping for free.
I love that.
I love
that too. Like, even and they have the goodwill and it's cheap, but like no,
it's not even cheap anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah.
No, they look stuff up. That's how they come up with their prices.
So
I asked.
Yeah. So not
I
cool.
said, where do you come up with this price? They're like, well, I Etsy, they look on Etsy and they look on eBay and they look on Google and they take a picture of it with their Google, like a Boyd bear. It was like $20.
Oh my gosh.
What? That is not okay. I'm sorry. This is where people that cannot afford like a whole thing, we're donating our stuff to this for free, and we're expecting that it's at a discount for those that can't necessarily afford brand new, that they can get secondhand. And they've become so popular with the thrifting and foraging that they now upcharge so much that it's not discounted as much anymore. It's crazy. I want a warehouse where people can donate and somebody else can come in and go shopping for those that need it, and they don't abuse it. And when you don't make it so taboo, then it doesn't become abused.
I agree. And I believe that the bottom line in people's hearts is not to abuse. I believe if you give the majority of humans a choice to do the right thing, I believe and I have faith that the majority of them are going to do the right thing. You have those couple that aren't, but I even believe that if they're not going to do the right thing, just like in the movie Les Miserables, when the guy came and robbed, he's like, take my candlesticks. You forgot the candlesticks. Here, don't forget the crystal. And then that guy, he spent the rest of his life giving back to the community. And that's what I would do. If someone came in and they like had cartloads and they just started loading everything up, I'd be like, I believe you forgot one. Let's make sure you get this one too. And they'd be like,
yeah.
Sometimes they just need to see what non-scarcity looks like.
Well, I even have a little girl
and compassion
Yeah.
and support. And they've been so hurt and so non-supported and so abused and so damaged and so beat up by this society that they have grown hard in their hearts. But I believe underneath it that there is still a way to reach them. Still a way.
I had yesterday a girl, I would say she was in her early mid-teens, I would say. She went into my crystal bucket. I watched her take out a crystal or two, stick it in her pocket, and she looked at me and I looked at her and I'm like, can I put it back? And she walked out of my tent.
Wow.
And there was another woman there and she looked at me, she goes, did she just say crystals? I'm like, yeah, she did. She needed it that badly. And I do say that, like, if somebody needs something so badly and they don't have the concept of, you're taking money and food out of my children's mouths by doing that, that when you steal from somebody without that exchange, that karmic energy comes with it. But I release it in my space. And if somebody needs it that badly, that they
even having it,
feel it.
So there is I'm the same. I will give you everything if you just ask.
Just ask.
And had she asked and said, like, I don't have any money. Is there any crystal that I could have? Do you think that you could donate? Like, I'm so broke, but I really want a crystal. You'd be like, sure.
Oh, absolutely not a question.
Not a question. And that's different. But what I learned, it was funny. I knew this from a very young age, that someone would take something from me and I was like, oh, you're going to be in big trouble. You don't want to steal from me. Like, when you steal from me, it comes back 3 times to you in not good ways. And I said, and the universe showed me that from a very long time. Anyone who takes anything from me, like, bad things would happen to them. And I didn't even set that up. I didn't even do that.
Nope. I don't have to do it. I don't have to wish upon anything.
Me either.
Even my kids know, by the way, that if they say something that is not necessarily the nicest thing to me, specifically, or they say something bad to each other, whatever it is, somebody bites their tongue, or they stub their toe, or they
know. I think it's our spiritual bouncers that are like,
my
don't steal from my people.
Yes, and I
stealing from God's people. I am of God. I'm a God. I'm a servant of God. You can't steal from me. Don't do it. It's bad for you.
Correct. And
no harm. I just don't think it's good for you.
And I say to them, I didn't even have to lift a finger. My people got me.
Yeah, I don't even have to lift a finger.
They know I don't have to lift a finger. My people, you do not talk to me like this or talk to each other like this. This is not the energy that we need to have in this house. So by me saying that, and you can ask either of my children if you've ever seen them, they will tell you. And my husband too, he knows that if he ever, even when we were dating, he would break plans with me and then he'd get like pulled over by the police, or he'd break plans with me and like something would happen. He goes, what are you doing? Are you casting spells on me? I don't understand. I said, no.
I don't know. I have some sort of
my team works with me. I have a very, direct connection with my people.
Yeah, me too. Okay, good. We have done this. It's 10:30. Yes. 10:30. We spoke. Anyway, guys, if you're still hanging in there, thanks for here. We're always talking about weird stuff. So we'll see you. We'll see you next week.
Monday.
We'll see you Monday. We'll see you Monday next week. Bye. Love you all. All right, let's see. End stream. Oh, hold on. We got to play our auto. And here's our fun video.
Live every Monday at 8 p.m. Spiritual Coach Kristen and Coach Jocks. We are a global spiritual training academy, here to teach you nothing. Because the truth is, you already know. Our role? To help you remember your mission, your message, and the movement you were born to lead. Expand consciously, live authentically, discover your truth, enhance your gifts, master your superpowers. We are light workers and bridge builders, united as a species of Earth, and together we are stronger. Together we are one tribe.